how can we handle the challenge of securing IoT devices used in patient care? And I consider these Internet of Medical Things often. So you'll hear me say that. And I would say, first, it's crucial to implement strong encryption wherever possible on all of these IoT devices, because this ensures that any data transmitted between devices and networks is protected from interception as well as unauthorized access. Next, regular software updates and patching are essential, and this can't happen with all IoT devices, unfortunately. So IoT devices, they often run on some specialized software that needs to be kept up to date. And the reason is to protect against newly discovered vulnerabilities. Again, you can't do this with all of the IoT, IOMT. So I would say, if you can, establish a regular update and make it a schedule. That's going to help you ensure that all devices are protected against those latest threats. And we'll talk a little bit about, well, what do you do if you can't do that? So I would say another important step is to use strong and unique passwords wherever possible. I still come into organizations all the time and I see default passwords, and they are still in use. And I would say that is one of the most common entry points for attackers. So make sure you go through and change those to something complex, unique, but simple enough where you are not making it challenging to maintain and leverage that security. Now, I would say wherever possible, leverage multi-factor authentication, because this just adds that extra layer of security. Now, network segmentation, I would say, is another big key strategy. So by isolating IoT devices on that, we'll call it a separate network from either the main hospital or admin network, you can limit the potential damage if a device is compromised. So this way, even if an attacker gains access to an IoT device, they won't be able to easily reach other critical systems and data. Another big one is continuously monitoring, as well as adding anomaly detection to those networks. And implementing tools that can monitor network traffic and detect unusual patterns can help identify potential security incidents, and it's a lot earlier than we would otherwise know. And this proactive approach, it allows for quicker response times, as well as minimizes the impact of any breach that does happen. And again, you hear me say this a lot, training and awareness for healthcare staff is pretty crucial. And that ensures that everyone who interacts with IoT devices understands the importance of securing those devices and what practices to use. And we mentioned this earlier, but I think being able to recognize any phishing attempts, making sure that we are maintaining those strong passwords. Really, we're just trying to create a culture of security within the organization specific to those medical devices that we're leveraging. And it's also important to work closely with the vendors of those medical devices. So ensure that your IoT device suppliers are also following stringent security practices. And they are also providing regular updates as well as support. So having clear agreements in place regarding security responsibilities can help mitigate risks associated with any third-party device. And finally, regular security assessments and audits. Those can help identify and address potential vulnerabilities in your IoT ecosystem. And these assessments should include both technical evaluations as well as policy review to ensure that you have comprehensive security coverage.